I love watching your stuff and stealing from you and just being able to basically take your content and make it mine. What is up, you sexy beasts? Hey, snacks. What do you guys have for snacks? I do a protein shake with a scoop of creatine and some peanut butter. And then every Monday I freeze like 5 of these little packs. They are 150 grams of biltong. If you don't know what biltong is, it's like beef jerky. Actually, I do a mixture of biltong and druivors. Druivors is like a dried sausage. It's delicious. I was planning on doing a little muscle up EMOM outside. I think we might still be good. A bit of a drizzle, but we'll give it a nudge, and if it's no good, we'll just get in the garage and do some bodybuilding. I think we're good. No rain at the moment. Hey, by the way, just welcome. Welcome if you're a new subscriber here. I haven't really said hi to the new subscribers in a little while, and there are a bunch of new ones, so thank you for following along. My name is Wykie, by the way. And if you're an OG of this channel, you would know that I had a goal that I've probably tried to achieve twice. Like I've had 2 good cracks at it, and that is 15 unbroken muscle ups. And I haven't quite got it. And it's okay, you know. Sometimes it's okay to set goals and fail and not make it. The key thing is, you just gotta get back on the horse and go again. So that's what we're doing today, getting back on the horse. But I wanted to ask the question, is there perhaps a better test when it comes to muscle ups than just getting 15 unbroken? What about something like doing 6 every minute for 5 minutes? So that's 30 reps in 5 minutes, doing a 6-minute EMOM for 5 minutes. You know, that could be a cool little achievement. I don't know, I've just always liked the sound of 15 unbroken ring muscle ups. So today we're gonna warm up, do a max effort set and just see where we're at as a starting point, and then the training on the ring muscle up starts again. If you're watching this video and you enjoy any part of it, can you just do me a massive favor and just check and see if you're subscribed, because I would just love to be your friend, you know? Oh, we've got a bleeder. I did some muscle ups the other day and scabbed up, and that's just opened up the scab. I feel so heavy, eh? I'm not that heavy, like 92 kgs. I feel like now my pecs are full of blood. I'm gonna go again. Got some Fit Aid. Classic CrossFitter, you know? Always thinks you can do better. Always thinks you can go one more set and somehow improve. 5-minute rest, and just one more try, I promise. One more set. I'm putting on a long sleeve. Gotta look after the tats, you know? Okay, 5 minutes of rest, bit of Fit Aid, surely. Surely's got 10 in them, you know? Yeah, baby. 10. My dip is so weak. That's all the dip. You gotta love it when you convince yourself to have one more go because you really believe that you got more in you, and then you prove yourself right. You do have more in you, even if it's only one rep. So there you go, that's our benchmark to start with, 10 unbroken muscle ups. That time I tried to be more aggressive at the top with my knee tuck, just to help with the dip. My dip's really weak, so I'm gonna do a bunch of tricep extensions, just tricep extensions all day. What's a good 30 muscle up for time, you know? And they did it back in 2018. Yeah, 2018 at the games, they did 30 muscle ups for time. Kirsty Aramo got 2 minutes and 32 seconds for the win, 2:32. And on the men's side, wasn't it Zeke Grove? No, Logan Collins, 1 minute 46. That's fast, 1:46. That was back in 2018. I wonder what the guys can do it in these days. So sub 2 minutes, that's so fast. Actually, I remember that 2018, Zeke Grove did 30 unbroken in training, and then he had to break at like 26 or 28 at the games. But I guess with the longer straps and the accumulation of the weekend's work, you can't blame the guy, you know. Actually, shout out to Zeke Grove. I think he just won the online qualifier for Down Under Championships. So we'll see the Zekas. We'll see the Zekas down at Down Under. Okay, before we head inside to talk about Justin Medeiros, let me know down in the comments below. Right now, you can just pause it. Let me know. Would you rather be able to do 15 unbroken muscle ups on the rings, or would you rather be able to do 30 muscle ups for time and do it under 5 minutes, sub 5 minute 30 muscle ups? Which one's a better achievement, 15 unbroken or a sub 5 minute 30 muscle up time? Let me know. Okay, so Mr. Sevan had Justin Medeiros on his podcast, and it was amazing. It was a great podcast. Honestly, there's a lot of great people in our space that do awesome things, but as far as I'm concerned, I think Sevan is the best in the business when it comes to podcasting, when it comes to bringing out the best out of the athletes, when it comes to setting the athletes at ease and getting some real honesty and some real unique answers from them. So, man, he's going to love this. But he really is the Joe Rogan of CrossFit. He's going to love me saying that. But it was a great podcast. So great that I thought I've got to do a short, 10, 15 minute video, just kind of recapping it, because I know a lot of you just won't watch the whole thing. If you can, I highly, highly recommend you go and watch the whole podcast. In fact, I'll link it in the description below. But I thought I'll do a quick little recap, some of the main points that came up. One of those points being one that I think we were all kind of aware of, and that is that Justin Medeiros and Ali Turner are dating. Both of them are just super down to earth and fun people. I've had Justin on this channel before doing 30 questions. In fact, if you haven't watched that one, go and watch that, because it was actually before he won his first CrossFit Games. He was still an up and comer, and I did a 20 questions, maybe it was 30 questions. Anyway, it was one of those questions with Justin Medeiros. It was a real fun video. I'll link that one in the description below as well. And then obviously Ali is from Australia. I've spent a little bit of time with her, but both of them are just such lovely, genuine people. So I'm really happy for them. And they really are the cutest couple in CrossFit right now, I think. One of the things they discuss is Justin's decision to start dating Ali so close to the game. So they met in April and then started dating in July, I believe. And then the games was in August. And Justin talks about how last year, leading up to the games, the last 3 weeks, he was like, get me out of here. Like, I am done. He was just completely spent and wasn't having a whole lot of fun. He says the only thing that kept him going was knowing that he had a month off after the games. That was his experience last year. This year, he was having so much fun that the 3 weeks leading up to the games, he was like, let's go, bring it on. Like, I can do another month of this before the games, And he talks about the mind games that started playing in his head, that perhaps I shouldn't be having this much fun leading up to the games. Like, he knew what it felt like last year, and this year he wasn't experiencing that. He was experiencing a much more enjoyable lead up to the games, and he was wondering whether perhaps he hadn't done enough, because all he knew was what he felt like last year. Justin's number one goal is to win the CrossFit Games. And you can imagine making a decision to go into a relationship. You can imagine the doubt, have I made a mistake here? Am I going to ruin my chances to achieve my number one goal by indulging or by kind of allowing myself to go into this thing? Obviously, it turned out well, and he kind of proved that he can win the games in both mindsets, and a happy, enjoying training kind of mindset, and also the previous year, being completely spent and just over all the training kind of mindset, and both years coming out worth a W. He also talks about being nervous, telling his parents that he was dating Ali. And the main reason he says he was nervous was that, he sacrificed so much to be where he's at, but also his family has sacrificed so much. He talks about, his family helping him financially to travel around the world, doing all the sanctional events to try and qualify for the games, and just allowing him to train full time and not work a whole lot. Yeah, I guess he must have been nervous, knowing the weight of the investment that him and his team have made, his family have made, and then this new factor coming into play in the relationship, whether that was going to detract from that investment or whether it was going to be something that's going to add to it. And obviously it has proven to be a beneficial thing. So well done to you, young Ali. Amazing. I'm just so happy for those guys. That's awesome. The other very interesting topic they discuss is the Wonder Max sandbag ground to shoulder, or sandbag clean, whatever you want to call it, and just how his technique was so different to the rest of the field. It's funny, when you're on the sidelines taking video and photo, you don't even pick up on these things, but I need to go and watch this event back. But I believe everyone else had the bag kind of, top to bottom, where he had it long ways. He had it horizontal rather than vertical. So he was picking it up this way rather than bear hugging it like the majority of the field. And, he was just saying that was what worked for him in the warm-up. And so you kind of get on the floor and you can't look at everyone else and what they're doing and then change your game plan. You got to stick with what you kind of committed to. And he just stuck with it. And it looked beautiful. Every lift looked so, so good. Yeah, and he just talks about how you kind of look around and go, oh, everyone else is doing it different to me. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. But not letting that insecurity or that kind of thought get into your mind, but just sticking to what works for you. And obviously it paid off for him in that event. I think he was very happy with the results. Justin reckons that event was he calls it the most expensive event of the weekend, as in the time under tension on these lifts just ruined bodies. In fact, he said he finished that event and he went to bed that night and he was scared to wake up the next morning because he didn't know what he was going to feel like. Justin reckons he woke up the next morning feeling great, but I just wonder how many athletes woke up the next morning being absolutely destroyed from that Wonder Max sandbag lift. Because not only is it extremely heavy and a lot of time under tension, but it's not a symmetrical lift like a clean or a snatch where everything is kind of nicely aligned. You're out of position and just fighting with this thing. Yeah, looking from the outside, you probably wouldn't pick that event as a spectator to be the one that is most detrimental to the body for the athletes. But I've heard many of the CrossFit Games athletes from this year say that event was by far the one that destroyed their bodies the most. He made one comment when Sevan asked him about the programming this year. He asked him what he thought about the programming. And Justin said this. He said, "My goal is to be immune to the programming." In other words, I don't care what I want to get to a point where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's the Open, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, or the games. The programming doesn't matter. I can do it all. I can dominate. And he was saying that despite the fact that, it's not the goal to peak during the Open, it's not the goal to peak during the quarterfinals or the semifinals necessarily, but even though it's not the goal to peak, he still wants to be at a level where he can just win those things. He kind of talks about Matt Fraser and how he was able to win every stage of the season, even though that wasn't the goal. He was just so immune to the program, so well-rounded that he could just do that, and that was his goal. In fact, he talks about thinking about Matt Fraser when he's training. I guess Justin never quite had the opportunity to go head-to-head with Matt when Justin was in his prime. Justin, when he went to the games in 2020, that was his very first CrossFit Games. That was Matt's last year. So again, there wasn't enough crossover to really see the two of them battle out both at their prime. And it's something that Justin thinks about when he's training, is that Matt is the standard. What would Matt get on this workout? That's what my goal is. Sevan did ask Justin about Ricky and the tension perhaps that was there during the games week. He mentioned that he could see some tension, especially during that Wonder Max clean lift, and just asked Justin about that. And Justin has said, look, Ricky was wearing the leader's jersey, and that was what I wanted, and so he was the one I was chasing down, and so he was kind of putting that energy towards Ricky. But then he also mentions the 2017 situation with Ricky failing his drug test, and he's just saying that, instead of being kind of outspoken or opinionated about that stuff, he just channels it into his performance, and he kind of just lets his thoughts and his opinions about that stuff serve him during that week, and just channels that energy towards his performance to dominate that person, which in this case was Ricky. And so he kind of admitted that there was a bit of tension, and it was both those two things. He had the leader's jersey, and he also had thoughts about that 2017 scenario and was channeling all of that towards Ricky. He talks about Rogue. He is going to compete at Rogue, but he says that his goal is to win the CrossFit Games for a third year in a row, and the best thing for him to do to achieve that is to take a month off after the game. So even though that might not be the best preparation for Rogue, that is what he will do to make sure that his body is fully recovered and ready for a new season of training leading into the games. But he will be at the Rogue, and obviously last year he won that again with a month off. So it'll be interesting to see if he can be a repeat Rogue champion as well. And then the last thing that I thought was really cool that he spoke about was his team. He talks about Adam Neifer, his coach, and Etsebeth, I believe it is, his strength coach, and just what they mean to him. Sevan talks about Matt and HWPO and kind of asks him, surely you've been asked to join one of these training camps, or surely you were approached to train with Matt. And, it's so straightforward and simple for him. He's got so much belief and trust in Adam Neifer. And what I love about what he said about Adam was that Adam wants nothing for himself. There's no, what can I gain from coaching the champion? All he cares about is Justin being the best he can possibly be. And he's basically put zero effort into looking at how he can leverage or profit from the success that they've had as a team. Nothing's changed, is what he says. Nothing's changed. It's just the same thing. Adam just turns up, Jesse just turns up and just wants what's best for Justin. That's all they care about, nothing for themselves. And that's really interesting because he says that they had every opportunity, those two coaches, to they've left a lot on the table. There was opportunity for them to do more with what they've achieved being Justin's coach. And I love that. They just seem like such a humble and down-to-earth crew. And I think that is a huge part of their success. So I'm excited to see Justin three-peat next year. But more than that, I'm excited to see what Ali does after training with these guys for a full year. Obviously, she just joined them prior to the games. So I'm really excited to see where her performance goes under Adam and Jesse's guidance, and obviously having Justin Medeiros as a training partner. Seems like they got a pretty good thing going there, and I'm here for it, baby. I'm here for it. So Justin and Ali, if you're seeing this, well done, you two. Love it. Just love it. Great story. And Sevan, you're a legend. Thank you for the podcast. I love watching your stuff and stealing from you and just being able to basically take your content and make it mine. I appreciate that, guys, go and watch that. Go watch that podcast if you have the time. Otherwise, stay sexy, keep roaring love. Make sure you check and see if you're subscribed. Get involved in the comments, and I'll see you real soon. Mwah.